On this picture you may see a Russian military transport airplane Il-76 right before the impact. Based on the airplane debris and those numerous holes, it was confirmed that it was shot down by the anti-aircraft missile. But right after the crash, Russia started its massive speculation in media sources and in social media that there were prisoners of war on board, Ukrainian prisoners of war. And now we're gonna try to figure out of what exactly happened out there. Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. So at first this video appeared in internet showing the airplane more or less in a single piece going down to the ground, and after the impact there was the huge explosion showing that there was lots of the fuel on board, or there could be some of the explosives inside. The Il-76 is the versatile cargo airplane of the Russian military. They use those everywhere, delivering even Shahed drones from Iran, which gives us the first clue that the airplane was actually carrying the military cargo from Syria all across Egypt, Saudi Arabia, through Iran to the Russian Federation. Yes, we have just a part of the route finishing in the Caspian Sea, but it is only because Russia turns off transponder, then it crosses its own territory of the Russian Federation. When they fly abroad, even using their military aviation, they should keep their transponders always on. It is the international requirement, but in Russia, they are free to do whatever they want. That is why they choose to make it confident in Russia. And indeed, if we take this registration number and go to the Flight Radar 24 website, which shows almost all of the airplanes right on the map equipped with transponders, so let's go for it. So here's our airplane. Definitely it looks like it flown from Syria through Egypt, then Saudi Arabia, Iran, and went to Russia. But in fact it wasn't like that. Let's play this route. The airplane actually was flying from Russia into Syria. We can clearly see it on the Flight Radar 24. The airplane was flying not to the Russian direction, but from Russia, probably delivering some of the supplies into the Russian military group of Syria, some of the government-controlled airport in a place because Russia supports Assad's regime. Also, we may find a picture of this exact airplane, Il-76 RA78830. It's the registration number of this airplane. The last flight was performed on 24th of January to Syria. You may see that it also has some of the grayish color, so non-standard white Russian color of illusion. It also has the big flag all across the fuselage. Let's compare it with the debris which were found not far away from Belgorod. Well, this part of the airplane shows that it was white, colored in white color, not the gray one, which tells us that it wasn't the same airplane that we saw on Flight Radar 24. It doesn't mean that it wasn't carrying any kind of the explosives, military cargo. No, but I just want to say that it was completely different airplane because many of the experts in internet start to say that it was that airplane from Syria, but no, it wasn't. It was totally different one. Analyzing the other debris, I wasn't able to find any sort of the registration number or something unique that would point on some particular Russian airplane. What we see that the impact was quite severe. There are big parts of the aircraft available, but not many of them. Russia stated that there were 65 prisoners of war on board of this aircraft going for exchange in Ukraine. But at the same time, they did not show any kind of the bodies out there. They showed just one and that's it. If airplane carries 65 of persons on board, there should be lots of the bodies around. Also, Russia blocked the way for all kind of the journalists, and later on they asked all of the civilian services like fire brigades, ambulance to leave the crash site, so only military remained. So if we speak about the actual evidence, bodies of Ukrainian POWs, they're absent for now. Nevertheless, Russia launched a huge media campaign in the media sources saying that there were Ukrainian POWs. Their first voice about the case was Anatoly Shary, blogger who usually spreads the Russian narratives. He is Ukrainian but lives outside the country. He is famous of his pro-Russian position. So initially the information about the Ukrainian POWs started to come from him, and later on was followed by the Russian officials, including the Russian politicians. They blame Ukraine for this attack, obviously. But as I say to you, there is no any evidence provided. Russians say that bodies burned in this huge explosion of the aircraft, but it's not like that. It couldn't be like that. I know it from the first hand because then our Boeing 737 of Ukraine International Airlines was shut down by Iranian bastards. Still, all of the bodies were identified with the help of the DNA tests, and some of them didn't require DNA tests. And just look at the remains of our Boeing 737. It is completely gone. There was severe temperature, fire, all of that, but it didn't manage to destroy all of the body parts. So for sure, if Russia says that there were 65 prisoners of war, including crew members, including security, there should be lots of the bodies lying around, but they are unknown. As I told you, for this hour, Russia showed just a single body. At the same time, Russian social media shares the pictures of the crew members of that Il-76. 5 crew members is enough to operate Il-76, and usually there are also a couple of the technical personnel. The civilian modification of that airplane requires just 4 crew members. And on the pictures we may see exactly 4 crew members. Based on the video we may find the exact location of the aircraft impact. The final destination is around 60 kilometers away from the Belgorod city. Some of the analytics say that the aircraft was flying outbound from the airfield because by the time of the crash it was pointed outwards from the airfield, but if it shut down in the skies, the airplane might fly like that all around. It doesn't matter. For now, it's hard to say the original direction or destination of the airplane. Probably it was flying to Belgorod because it was really close to that airfield. So here we have Belgorod, and this is the possible destination of the airplane, the place of impact or the crash site. So really close to the Ukrainian border, I would say around 80 kilometers, not more. So the Russian side says that the airplanes were flying from unknown point to Belgorod, delivering the prisoners of war. There were 2 of the airplanes, both of them were Il-76. The first airplane in the convoy was shut down and the next airplane turned back. Russia even published a list of the Ukrainian POWs that were on board of the Il-76, which they wanted to exchange. But something went wrong with that list, because according to the information coming from the Ukrainian side, some of the persons in the list have been already exchanged before on 3rd of January. So all of the names and surnames fit exactly with the Russian list, some of the surnames, including the date of birth of particular people. But Russian side says that Ukrainian list is fake. The Russian side said that this list definitely was published on January the 3rd, but was corrected today by Ukrainian side right after Russia published their list of the persons who were on board of Il-76. For me, this variant is really strange, and I would say that so far this is the biggest Ukrainian evidence that Russian theory is fake. Also, Putin today met with the leader of Republic of Chad. A guy said that he is sorry that Russia lost the airplane today, but Putin looked like he doesn't want to speak about it. He was silent about the topic. Usually he uses every sort of the opportunity to blame West, to blame Ukraine, and here he didn't say anything about the Western-made weaponry that shot down the Russian jet with the Ukrainian POWs on board, because 100% the aircraft was shot down. This image was even shown with this smoke in the skies. Not sure if it is legit and relative to today's case. Unfortunately, today Ukraine was really late providing some of the information to the public. That is why Russia took initiative and many of the Western media sources started to publish the Russian version. And still Ukraine says that it is looking for evidence. It doesn't have all of the picture of the case. President Zelensky talked about it in his evening address. He asks for the international investigation. It means that for this hour we are unable to exclude any kind of the version, including the Russian one. Sadly, because today there should have been the exchange between Ukrainian and Russian POWs. We hadn't this information yesterday, so for today I was really surprised that the exchange was planned. Also, Ukrainian side said that Russia didn't tell how would they deliver POWs and whether the safety of the airspace is the key factor of exchange. Also, there was the information that Russia did not use airplanes to transport Ukrainian POWs, but later on I found out that Russia definitely uses airplanes to transport our prisoners of war, because they put them far east to Siberia. Siberia somewhere, and they delivered them for exchange using airplanes. Our warriors who returned from the Russian prison may confirm that. Of course, I would like to say 100% it is the Russian provocation, but for now we don't have the evidence to prove it. The only big evidence, as I say to you, with the list of the POVs which Russia publishes, but those are just the papers which are quite easy to fake. I don't know the origin of those coming from, so we need actual details from the crash site. If Russia fails to publish a real evidence in a couple of days, it means that their version is total hoax. Also, there already were some of the cases that the Russian air defense shut down their own airplanes. So for this hour, I would just leave it as it is right now. We need to wait for the evidence coming. Alright, now let's go to the other story. Ukraine launched the drone attack on the Russian oil depot in Tuapse, the Black Sea. Russians even filmed some of the drones in the sky. The full video is as usual available on my Telegram channel, so it looks like Ukraine continued to use the Beaver drones. 3 of the kabooms were reported, and as you can see, the oil facility is on fire. The Russian oil port of Tuapse is located between Novorossiysk and Sochi. The distance to Ukrainian controlled territory is more than 400 kilometers, so it's quite far away. And now let's go to the satellite image to check out where is the oil facility. Well, judging on this map, the oil facility takes the vast part of the city. It's very, very big. Drones hit the target during the night time, so it's hard to say what part of the facility was targeted. So I guess it is somewhere over here, or maybe not. We're gonna see maybe tomorrow. You may see that Ukraine is really concentrated on the Russian oil facilities. It is the third strike on those kind of the facilities for the last 10 days. Russia will definitely struggle with their oil export because in St. Petersburg, for example, the Russian Ust-Luga oil port is still unusable. And here I'm sure it will be the same. And now briefly let's go to the military map update. Russia moved their forces to this place. However, this part is very narrow, and I'm sure that Ukraine went on a counterattack to this place because the gray area shrinked a little. Let's go to the timeline a couple of days ago. So the gray area here was big and now it narrowed a lot, but still Russian forces are presented over here. We have the confirmation with this red color. But how Russia managed to get there? For that, actually, they used the Hamas-style advancement. Yes, they went to the town through the tunnels. They even do not hesitate to post the pictures about it. Kind of the safe place against the Ukrainian drone attacks, why not? But they moved just with infantry forces. They also need to advance with their vehicles, with their tanks, and now they're unable to do it. That is why they're unable to secure the ground, maybe just underground. That's why I think that this Russian advancement is pretty much temporary. They're unable to move with their massive forces. We have some awesome news about the Russian freezed funds. The United States Congress Committee has approved the confiscation of the Russian funds in favor of Ukraine. Awesome. Well, still Senate and House of Representatives should vote for it, but it seems like they do support this feature. And after President signs the deal, everything will be done. It could be the first confiscation of the assets by the central bank from the country with which the United States of America are not in direct war. It is hard to find out the real figure of the Russian funds which they stored in the United States Central Bank, but from what I know, they stored more in Europe compared to United States. And something tells me that we're gonna see the similar stuff happening with the legislation in the European Union, so the Russian funds also will be confiscated there in a middle-term perspective. As Sweden-NATO saga comes to its end, something unusual happened to Orban today. He called the Hungarian parliament to vote for the deal of Sweden joining NATO. He came to this logical decision after the talk with Jens Stoltenberg. So just yesterday Hungary wanted to negotiate, but today, no, we accept everything. Good, Orban, good. Also, Slovakian Prime Minister Fico said that he supports the European Union deal for Ukraine. We are speaking about 50 billion euros that Ukraine should obtain this year. Something is happening to them. I don't know, maybe Pfizer came out with a new vaccine, which they put to them. And this is what happens in the United Nations. Guterres, come on, you also got the virus. You need a new vaccine. Definitely, it's very unsafe. What about Chancellor Scholz? Well, he changed a long time ago. Now he calls all of the European leaders to increase the military support of Ukraine. Bravo! It took him very long, but now he understands everything. It seems like Chancellor Scholz finally found out the scheme of how to deliver the Taurus cruise missiles to Ukraine. Germany will supply those missiles to United Kingdom, and later on, United Kingdom said that they'll supply Storm Shadow to Ukraine, but it could be not the Storm Shadow only, but also Taurus. The United States of America will provide Ukraine with almost $12 billion, but not for the military support. The funds will go for Ukrainian budget sector. Well, awesome. My friends, please don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so, you help me a lot. And also, if you want to support my job, you may check some of the links in the video description just below. Special thanks for my Patreon supporters and the sponsors of my YouTube channel. Guys, thank you for your kind support. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.